From Middletown High School, round 2 of the girls basketball OHSAA tournament about to get underway. A matchup between two pretty identical teams in the Lakota West Firebirds and the Kings Knights. You take a look at seeding. Obviously, the Firebirds in single digits up at the top. The Kings Knights pretty close to single digits, about as close as you can get with the 11 seed heading into this one. And, of course, a big win last week. The Firebirds can't say so much of the same. The Firebirds narrowly escaping having their heart broken on Valentine's Day to the Little Miami Panthers. But lo and behold, here we are, round 2, about to get underway between the black and white and the red and blue here in Middletown. As we welcome you into the broadcast booth, I'm Nick Johnson alongside Andrew Odell, taking you along tonight's playoff contest. And Andrew, tonight should be a good one. Obviously, we saw the Firebirds last week, like I said, didn't play their best basketball, but it looks like they're locked, loaded, ready to go tonight.
Yeah, I think they really are. And you look at how they've played the last, week, you said earlier, it hasn't been great, but there's definitely room for improvement for them. And I think coming into this game, this is a big game for them to get some improvement in. This is, a tough team going up against Kings. They're going to have to bring it their all tonight.
Yeah, and of course, you mentioned the last week, only one game last week, and it was that Little Miami game. And of course, as you said, kind of a little bit, I don't want to say sleeping on the Panthers, because we saw what they were able to do in that second half. But I will say this, you take a look at that incredible run they went on the back half of December, all of January, into the early days of February. You got to hope they're not peaking too early heading into tournament time.
Yeah, and I would agree with you there. As this last week, coming off 2 straight losses at the end of the regular season, and then coming into this game, or coming into the Little Miami game, they came out a little flat. They're not going to be able to come out flat against the Kings today, because Kings is not going to give them any chance for come back into this game if they get down early.
Yeah, and let's talk about our little conversation we had with Coach Fishman before the game. He was talking about last week, saying he had to tell his team at half, we are better than this. Don't overlook anyone. But he did remind us that this team kind of has a trend over the past few games, especially on that hot streak. They play their best basketball against their best opponents. And tonight, the Kings Knights, one of the better opponents that these Firebirds have seen in quite some time, aside from the Mason Comets and the Princeton Vikings to kind of end out that regular season. The Kings Knights, obviously nobody to sleep on. They're a very talented team, and we are really going to have to see that trend continue, as Fishman said earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, and I really think it comes down to, for the Firebirds, it comes down to their three-point shooting. If they're able to knock down threes consistently in this game, they're going to have a fun night. But if they're not, they could have an early exit in this one. But I really feel like in this game, they're going to have to start early, because Kings, they've got players that can score the ball really well. And you look at Cassie Ingram averaging 20.6 points per game. She's the leading scorer in the Eastern Cincinnati Conference, and she is just an absolute monster on the court.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ingram right there. Obviously, I mean, she's incredible. Anytime you're north of 20 points per game, fantastic. But the supporting cast around her, too. Elise Marshall, one of those names, 3rd in the ECC for rebounds per game, 2nd team all-conference last year alongside Ingram, who made 1st team. The supporting cast around Ingram is just built for success, and we saw how easy they're able to roll through that first tournament game against St. Ursula last week, also on Valentine's Day, about an hour and a half before West tipped off against Little Miami.
Yeah, they were able to come out on a roll, and I think right now the Kings Knights are one of the teams that no one wants to see in this tournament. Having won 6 in a row, they're on a hot streak, and they're going to keep playing that way. Hopefully tonight for Kings, they're going to want to come out on that hot streak and take the Firebirds and start strong early.
And of course, as any basketball game will have, I mean, it is a game of runs. The Kings Knights did have certain points of struggle where they weren't as dominant over St. Ursula. And, I think you can say the same about Lakota West, obviously. I mean, that whole first half wasn't that great. But Lakota West, it seems like all of their games come down to, do they make their shots? Do they not make their shots? It's like their field goal percentage almost determines the outcome of the game. So how crucial do you think it is for these shooters to be on tonight here in Middletown?
It's incredibly crucial for both teams, really, as both teams heavily utilize the 3-ball. And, but West, I feel like for them, it's more their identity. And, a good thing for Kings is that their identity doesn't really rely on the 3-ball as much as West does. So that's something that could lead them to going farther in the tournament.
So let's talk about Lakota West for a few minutes here. Katie Fox, obviously the leading scorer for these Firebirds, breaking out in the back half of this season, the first team all-conference Firebird in her sophomore year. Last week against Little Miami, put up a double-double, had it in the points column and in the rebounds column. We're going to need to see a big game from her tonight to lead these Firebirds down the hardwood.
Yeah, especially being the leading scorer for the Firebirds. She's going to have to put on a show tonight with her three-point shooting and just her ability to get to the basket and create shots for herself. But also looking at the rest of the West roster, as you got Caroline Bailiff, Lily Johnson, Sydney Williams, and a bunch of other scorers on this team that really contribute to how this team plays and how, they operate. As, this team really spreads the ball around the court. They have a lot of shooters around, and that's why they're a dangerous team to play, because of their ability to knock down the three.
Yeah, and of course, Caroline Bailiff, you mentioned there, one of the top shooters for this West team, put up a career-high 23 points at Princeton in that last regular season game. So obviously, this team knows what she's capable of. She knows what she's capable of, and her shooting, just like Katie Fox, just like Sydney Williams, all those girls out on the hardwood tonight, she also has to be on. So, Caroline Bailiff obviously going to be one of those names to watch for. Really, all of these freshmen, I guess they're sophomores now, but all of those girls we watched come up as freshmen last year in their sophomore year now. This is to the point that they've worked for, and obviously they still have 2 years left, but I think we're really starting to see the early stages of something special here in Lakota West.
Yeah, I really think we are, and as we watch these girls grow into this sport and the way they're playing right now, and it's going to lead into senior year and all the years they play here, they're going to continue to build this passion for the sport of basketball and continue to play at a high level. And it's just going to be exciting to see what they do in these upcoming years.
And of course, Lily Johnson in her senior year, one of the starting five out, the second of two seniors in the starting five tonight. Obviously, these seniors, you want to make a deep run for your last year with the team, and Lily Johnson, a big part of that. The second leading scorer for these Firebirds, as we mentioned in the five here tonight. She's a huge presence for this team inside.
She really is, and she can also shoot the three ball just as well. She's just a great all-around scorer for the Firebirds. And, coming off a game where she was a big part of the offense, she's going to have to be able to create a lot of shots for herself once again.
So I'll ask you this. Obviously, we've talked much about that first half last week. Do you kind of like coming into this game with a little bit of a fire under you after that first half? Do you think it kind of builds momentum and anger kind of heading into this game? Or are you almost worried that we could see a repeat of that here tonight?
Well, I'm not really worried because I believe in this team and I believe what they're doing at the moment. But I also believe that, coming into this game, you don't want to be overconfident and you don't want to be underconfident. You want to be just right, and you want to be, coming into this game at a steady pace and just keep doing what you're doing. That's the main message.
You're listening to Lakota West Student Broadcasting, just over 3 minutes away from tip-off here, round 2 of the girls basketball state tournament here from Middletown. The winner of this one, Kings and Lakota West High School, will take on West Claremont, who put on an absolute clinic in all stages of the game against Northwest. That game will be Tuesday, February 27th at 5:30. Should the Firebirds win in this one, a tall ask against the West Claremont Wolves, the 5 seed in this district. But, of course, the Kings Knights tonight, the reigning defending district champions. They look to continue their march through the playoffs here against the Firebirds, who, we were talking about this before the game. Lakota West, of course, Fishman, the head coach, all the way through the history of Lakota West High School girls basketball. West has not had back-to-back seasons with 1 or less wins in the postseason. Last year, they got upset against Milford. This could be year 2 if they take an exit tonight. It would be the first time since the school's conception, the 97-98 season and the 98-99 season, they go back-to-back years with 1 or fewer wins in the postseason. So definitely a lot on the line for the Firebirds here tonight.
Yeah, and that's just a crazy stat to think about. How successful this program has been in, basketball as a sport and their ability to get the job done. But will they be able to get the job done tonight? I think there's a big possibility that they will, but they're going to have to play like they want it.
Well, I think as we both mentioned there, this game definitely going to come down to the execution. And now let's take you down to the starting 5 for each side of the hardwood here tonight. That is looking to put their team in round 3 of the tournament with a win here tonight. We'll start with the Kings Knights, technically the home team, the lower seed, or I guess higher seed, depending on how you look at it. West is ranked as the better seed. We'll phrase it that way. But the starting 5 for the Kings Knights tonight, it starts out with a junior 5'8 guard, number 2, Jenna Burke. Number 11, the senior 5'9 guard, Sammy Drew. Wearing the number 12 in her junior year, the 5'7 guard, Ava Jandro. Wearing the number 13 in her senior year, the 6'1 forward, Elise Marshall. Wearing the number 14 in her senior year, standing 5'11 at the guard position, Cassie Ingram. Those are your 5 for the Knights. One more time, Burke, Drew, Jandro, Marshall, and Ingram. And as we get set for player introductions here in Middletown, we'll take a quick step aside for the national anthem, and we'll be back with the starting 5 for your Lakota West Firebirds. You are listening to Lakota West Student Broadcasting. Back from Middletown High School here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting Round 2 of the Girls Basketball State Tournament about to get underway. In case you missed it there before the break, we're running through the starting 5s. For the Kings Knights, it's Jenna Burke, Sammy Drew, Ava Jandro, Elise Marshall, and Cassie Ingram. And now let's dive in to your Lakota West Firebirds. Leading things off in her junior year, the 5'7 guard, number 1, Caitlin Barber. She'll be outside along double ones, number 11 in her sophomore year, 5'7 combo guard, Caroline Bailiff. Wearing the number 12 in her senior year, one of the 2 seniors in tonight's starting 5, standing 5'11 at the forward position, Kelsey Rolling. Wearing the number 23, fellow senior 5'11 forward, Lily Johnson. And rounding things out in her sophomore year, the leading scorer for the Firebirds, wearing the number 32, standing 5'10 at the guard position, Katie Fox. One more time for the home team tonight, the Lakota West Firebirds. It's Barber, Rolling, Johnson, Bailiff, and Fox. Once again, that's Barber, Bailiff, Rolling, Johnson, and Fox. We'll take one more quick step aside here from Middletown High School before we bring you tip-off in round 2 of the tournament. Round 2 just about underway here from Middletown. The Firebirds set to do battle with the Kings Knights. Lily Johnson out to take the tip-off for the Firebirds. Wearing number 13 in the white is Elise Marshall, set for the tip for Kings as we are underway. Both players up. Kings to win the tip at midcourt. As here we go, a tightly contested matchup expected on the hardwood here in Paul Walker Gym in Middletown. As we get a quick pass to the inside, here's Drew, and a double dribble called for. Quick turnover. Firebirds taking over. Strong start on defense.
Well, defensively, that was a good start for the Firebirds to get out early and, get a good stop going defensively, get the energy up for the Firebirds.
Here comes Caitlin Barber down the floor for the Firebirds. Barber sitting in the backcourt for a moment, finds Katie Fox. Fox tries to make a drive inside, looking for Bailiff. Bailiff goes up inside, and the scoreboard has been broken into. The West Side putting the first two up.
A great pass there from Katie Fox. It was a dime inside to Caroline Bailiff on a great bounce pass, and there's the defense again, forcing another turnover.
I mean, how about that double team right there, forcing a bad pass up and over that West bench. Now Caroline Bailiff getting set for the inbound. This is exactly the kind of energy we needed to see from these Firebirds tonight.
Yeah, Firebirds bringing all the energy early on, and that's what you love to see if you're a Firebird right now, is how these girls have been able to start off early and get the game going.
Hooks a pass to Rolling, nearly had an and one, but Kelsey Rolling coming up just shy. But I mean, how about that? We talked about how the shooting needs to be on. We get Caroline Bailiff working her way inside, and now Kelsey Rolling about to take two off a foul. Do you like this look about the Firebirds trying to work their way inside rather than relying on this three game? Because I know that's been a big concern for a lot of these fans.
Yeah, I loved it early, and I think they were trying to force it a little too much against Little Miami, and it just wasn't going. But today they're playing a lot smarter with these passes, and they're not, I know it's a minute into the game, obviously, but they're not making any bad passes early on.
Rolling makes it work, 2 for 2 from the line, and a big steal for Johnson. She goes one-on-one with Sammy Drew to the inside. No good as she goes up, rebounded by Cassie Ingram, and out here come the Knights. Rolling with a hand on it, but it will be recovered by Elise Marshall. Marshall putting the first two in the score column for Kings. Here comes Katie Fox and the Firebirds, though, off to Caroline Bailiff. Now we'll get the ball game slowed down for just a moment here. Well, maybe not for long. Fox trying to drive to the inside. Ball lost on the floor. Coming up with it is Sammy Drew. Loose ball again. Now it's Rolling over to Bailiff. She has it on the near side wing. Steps aside. Launches a three. And it is good. How about the Firebirds early on?
That looked like a NBA level 3. The ability to just step back and knock that down. Super clean jump shot right there, and a perfect swish for Bailiff. A great way to start the game offensively.
And a great double team there on Sammy Drew, but a little bit too much contact on that one. Foul called for as the Firebirds will have their first foul of the contest, matching the Kings Knights with one apiece here in the first quarter. 6 minutes exactly to play before we head to the second. Here come the Knights. Inbound finds Cassie Ingram. Back and forth with Sammy Drew. Now over to the far side wing. It's Jenna Burke. To the inside, Kelsey Rolling comes up with the steal for the Firebirds. Fast break opportunity. Here come the transition Firebirds. Fox takes a spin on the inside, and an easy two, or at least makes it look easy as she gets inside. 9-2 ball game in this one. Firebirds coming out hot on a run. Bad pass, but it's Jenna Burke able to save it. Although here we get a potential three opportunity. It is up and no good. Nearly airballed by Cassie Ingram. Now more transition play. Here goes Fox. Loses it. Got tied up for a moment. Out of bounds. Firebirds will keep the basketball.
Great start defensively. They're continuing to force bad shots and turnovers. The Firebirds are. And look for them to get Lily Johnson involved here.
And we'll see a shot no good there, as the Firebirds hopefully not starting to cool down in this one, as an easy two goes up for Cassie Ingram. The transition game has been big for both of these teams in the early going. So we have a 9-4 ball game here in Middletown.
And so far, Cassie Ingram getting in on the scoring twice. And, she's their leading scorer, and she's obviously going to be a big part of their game plan early on. But how about Kelsey Rolling, coming in on a starting role and bringing the energy early on for the Firebirds, defensively and offensively.
And speaking of seniors, Madison Parker also in. Parker was just no good for 2. Rolling did come up with that rebound. Second chance opportunity will not fall for Katie Fox, who is no good on that 3 ball. And now here come the Knights. 3 ball of their own. That one is no good for Cassie Ingram. Here come the transition Firebirds again. It's Madison Parker going up, rolling, fights for the offensive board, won't get it. Elise Marshall coming up with the rebound for the Knights. Knights wearing all white today, Firebirds in all black.
I liked what West was doing early on in the, trying to get the ball into the paint early. And, lately they've taken 2 step-back threes, one from Fox and one from Bailiff. Bailiff made one, but Fox wasn't able to convert on the other one. I just think, they got to continue to try to get the ball inside and not take those, tightly contested threes.
Set for the inbound, Sammy Drew. Still a foul apiece here in Middletown. About halfway through the first quarter. Katie Fox playing some solid defense there. Nearly misses a good steal opportunity. As the passing around continues, here's Elise Marshall on that near side wing. Tries to spin through a double team. Kicks it out to the corner. 3 ball, no good for Ava Gendro. As the Firebirds take it back over. Fox makes a straight drive through the lane, kicks it back out. Here's Johnson for 3, just spins out. Unfriendly spin cycle there for Johnson. Firebirds would have been in a bit more control here, as if their 5-point lead, obviously not enough for them, as we see 2 for Elise Marshall on the inside. Lead decreased to 3 for the Firebirds. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first. And a big steal right out of the hands there of Katie Fox into the hands of Sammy Drew for the Knights. Down court goes the pass. Up and in for Elise Marshall. And now here comes a run for the Kings Knights. Only a 1-point ball game, 9-8. West currently in possession of the lead.
And Nick, like you said pregame, it's a game of runs. And it's going to come down to which team can make the bigger runs. And right now, Kings starting to take control of this game.
Down the floor for the lead, up and no good is Cassie Ingram. Ball out of bounds, and the Knights maintain possession. We finally get a moment to breathe here. We've seen both teams on an early run. It feels like this entire game has been one gigantic run for one team or the other. Got to wonder if we start to almost run out of energy towards the end of this game the way we're playing early on.
Yeah, and both teams have to be gassed right now, at least the starting 5s that are in. And both, teams just going out in transition and both fighting for the ball as hard as they can and trying to get easy buckets either way.
Pass to the inside, up and no good goes Cassie Ingram. But a foul will be called for as she goes up. West drawing their 2nd of the quarter, as we will see Cassie Ingram to the line. Ingram only missed 1 game this year. It was way back in early December. Over 20 points per game for the Kings Knights. Leading scorer. She also leads the Eastern Cincinnati Conference after making first team all-conference last season for the Knights. We are brand new here in Middletown, and now the Knights taking the advantage in this one, 10-9 over the Firebirds. Firebirds look to get the offense back up and running. Bounce pass finds Sydney Williams. Jumper inside. Contact. Did look like it had quite the impact on that Sydney Williams shot as it came up quite short of the basket. We'll see 2 shots up and coming for number 5 in the black and red.
And a good job there trying to find the cut inside, and it led to a foul. And now West gets 2 free throws here.
And we'll see the first one up and good. Both teams knotted in the double digits at 10. 2.5 remaining in the first. Sydney Williams just about 5.5 points per game for these Firebirds. She has not missed a game since she came back from that injury early in the season. Of course, we saw her return at home against Fairfield as she takes the lead for the Firebirds. This game continues to go back and forth. Sammy Drew one-on-one with Barber down the floor.
And Sammy Drew, a player to watch for the Kings. She averages the most assists per game on the team, and she really takes the role of the point guard on the team, being able to bring the ball up and get open teammates.
And right back for the lead is Elise Marshall.
Well, early on, Cassie Ingram and Elise Marshall have been really dominating inside against West in the paint. West is going to have to try to contain those two.
We'll see Katie Fox tries to break her way inside. Tries to spin around, throw one up. I don't know about you, but that didn't look like great shot selection, or at least the shot selection that West needed, but it almost ended up falling for Katie Fox.
Yeah, it didn't look great coming off the hand, but it almost went in, but that's just not what you want. And then in transition, a three-pointer, and now West starting to get away from what they do best in this game. But, West made their run early. Now Kings has made their run, and now it's time for the game to settle in.
Yeah, and there's Cassie Ingram for you with a big three. Now the Firebirds trailed by multiple possessions for the first time tonight. Fox to the inside. Once again, a questionable look as it falls no good. Still a 4-point deficit. Inside, Ingram pulls up, no good. Offensive board for Jenna Burke. Kicks it back out. Ingram again puts the moves on as she makes a drive inside. And we get a whistle blown, a timeout for the Kings Knights. We have our first stoppage of this evening with 1:06 remaining in the first quarter. We'll see you on the other side of the break here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. Elise Marshall set to get us going after the Kings timeouts here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. Round 2 of the girls basketball state tournament as we get a corner three up and no good for Burke. A bit too much on it. Katie Fox coming up with the rebound, but we welcome you back into the broadcast booth, taking you along the way tonight in round 2. I'm Nick Johnson alongside Andrew Odell as we get Lily Johnson making a drive inside and a defensive foul called for. West currently sitting at 2 fouls this quarter. That will put the Kings Knights at 3 with 46.7 remaining. And we definitely saw that game of runs that we were expecting between these two talented teams heading into the Knights ball game.
Yeah, and early on in this game, what I'm seeing is, this is 2 evenly matched teams, and this is going to be a game where, it's just whatever team's going to have the momentum in the end. And right now, Kings has all the momentum. They're bringing the energy. They fought from the jump, and West looks a little bit rattled right now.
As we get a foul there and a turnover heading to the side of the Kings Knights. They lead this one by 4, 15-11 after a big Cassie Ingram three, kind of ending out that run we saw prior to their first called timeout of the contest. Here's Ingram here on that far side wing. Finds Jenna Burke. Find their way inside. Here's Elise Marshall, spins up over rolling, and a block from the senior as here comes Katie Fox off the turnover. Fox steps back, won't go inside. 20 seconds remaining in the quarter. Firebirds slow it down. Fox passes over to Rolling. Rolling in the lane. Bit too much movement with the feet. And we will see a travel called. You could hear the crowd noise behind us waiting for that call. Just a bit too much movement from an eager Kelsey Rolling trying to get the Firebirds back into this game. Not let that deficit grow too big. 3 seconds left. Here's a corner three up and just no good for Elise Marshall as the buzzer will sound on the first. It's the Kings Knights 15, the Firebirds 11 as we get set for our second set of 8 minutes here in round 2 of the girls basketball tournament on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. 8 minutes to half as we bring you back into Middletown here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting, taking you along the way through the remainder of this first half. I'm Nick Johnson alongside Andrew Odell as we are officially underway. Katie Fox with the inbound, able to find Caroline Bailiff as the Firebirds trail by 4, 15-11 after that Kings Knights run to end out the first quarter of play. Caroline Bailiff looking for a pass. She'll find Katie Fox, top of the floor. Now Lily Johnson on that far side wing. Over to Rolling. Rolling, looking for somebody inside. We talked about how the Firebirds looking to break inside more than relying on the 3 game. We'll see Katie Fox with the look now, steps back, fakes a 3. Now Lily Johnson for 3, and she'll knock it down. And back to a 1-point game in Middletown.
That is a huge 3. I mean, you're talking about the run that Kings is going on, and just for Johnson to step up and knock that down is huge for West to stay in this game. And they're going to continue to have to knock those type of shots down.
Here's Elise Marshall, looks to go over the interior Firebird defense, no good. Fox with a defensive board, fast break, here's Johnson for the lead, no good. Just a bit too in front on that shot as it rolls off the front of the iron. 6:50 to play in the second. That was a big missed opportunity for the Firebirds.
And what a great pass from Fox to get it to Johnson, but unfortunately, you know, it just didn't drop, but let's see what they do on defense here.
Spinning inside is Cassie Ingram as a whistle blown as she makes her way inside. A foul called, the first of the quarter. Firebirds will put one in their foul column. Cassie Ingram getting set from the line here. Once again, I mean, we talk about her contribution to this Kings team, what she's been able to accomplish. Her statistics, I mean, all the way up there. Almost 21 points per game, and she has been on fire to start this one. A big part of the reason these Knights have gone on that early run.
Yeah, and she's a huge part of the reason, and it's just been, you know, her presence, her ability to just get to the basket and get buckets. And for West, that there's just so many players on Kings that are able to do that, and it's just the same for West as well.
Here's Katie Fox, Firebirds trailing by 1 possession, 3-point ball game. Bailiff near side wing over to Lily Johnson. Now Caitlin Barber. A lot more passing than we're used to seeing, it feels like, for these Firebirds tonight. Here's Bailiff inside. Pull-up jumper, no good. And Rolling went up for that rebound. It looks like she had the last hand on it as it sails over the baseline. Kings taking back over. Down the floor here on Caitlin Barber is Sammy Drew. Now from the corner, working in is Cassie Ingram. Back over to Drew, top of the floor. Kings a bit more slow to get things started than we've seen the Firebirds as Bailiff comes up with a big steal here in transition. Here we go, as we mentioned, countless transition points here tonight. That's where the game is being won and lost as Bailiff taking a lot of defensive contact there from Cassie Ingram. A foul called, both teams now even, 1 foul each team. 5 minutes, 36 remaining till half.
And yeah, Kings is just a team that likes to play up and play pressure defense, and it's really been working early on in the second quarter. And I like the adjustments that they've made, but West is going to have to adjust to those adjustments.
Handoff finds Katie Fox in the corner. Now back to Kelsey Rolling. Rolling to fellow senior Lily Johnson. She sets a screen. Johnson to the floor and loses the basketball. Cassie Ingram comes up with it for Kings, letting her offense get down the floor as the Knights looking to increase this West deficit. Ingram makes a drive inside, goes up against Madison Parker, no good. Defensive board for Katie Fox, coming off a double-double last week on Valentine's Day against the Little Miami Panthers. As we see the Firebirds keep the basketball as that one makes contact with the baseline. About 3 minutes into this second quarter.
Yeah, and this is really a game that I feel like is going to come down to the wire just based simply off the fact that both these teams, they play similar play styles. Both of them shoot a lot of threes. As there's West, a huge 3, and that's, you know, that's where they're going to live and die by. If they're making those threes, they're going to stay in this game, and it's going to be a close one. If they're not making them, there's a chance that this one could get away from them.
Yeah, and West at least wants a close game at half, if not tied or obviously winning. But you don't want to be trailing at the half, having to fight your way back against this Kings Knights team as they launch a corner three, airballed right into the hands of the senior Kelsey Rowling. Now here come the transition Firebirds, and that pass launched a bit too far, intended for Madison Parker. Feels like we're calling a we're calling a football game rather than a basketball game with some of these long full court passes.
Yeah, and both teams trying to get out in transition. And it's, it's sometimes it's working, but West is kind of making some clumsy passes here lately. We'll see what they're trying to do here as they try to press up on this Kings offense.
Knotted up here at 17. Here comes Cassie Ingram. Kicks it out to the corner. Quick three for the Knights, and it will go. Elise Marshall comes up with the big tray for Kings. Now here's a step back three for Fox. That one no good off the back of the iron. Kings taking right back over. Here's Marshall, though. Kicks it back outside. Cassie Ingram, long range three, and she's got the three.
And just as you thought West was starting to make a comeback, here comes Kings. They're knocking down 2 threes in a row, and it's a team that has a very good offense, and they're playing their best basketball at the right time.
Bailiff, pull-up jumper. She knocks down a double. 4-point game, 23-19, as Coach Fishman taking a timeout as the Firebirds, they work on that deficit, but a newfound deficit. Back-to-back Kings Knights threes have this game a little bit different than it looked about 60 seconds ago, as we'll take another break on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. The Kings Knights in control of this one, 23-19 over the Firebirds after a couple of crucial three balls will end up going for the blue and white. Firebirds able to help that deficit a little bit. Caroline Bailiff from inside, although those points taken right back by the Kings Knights. 25-19 our score, and a hold right there as we get a loose ball, and Coach Fishman obviously a little bit upset, and you can't really blame him. Obviously, we talk about that game of runs, and I don't know how many times we've said it already tonight, but it is to a T what we are seeing tonight, as we will see the Kings Knights called for the second foul of the quarter. Actually, they're going to switch it. They're going to say West called for their second foul of the quarter. It was Bailiff set for the inbound. But now the Knights getting set here to inbound this one. Ava Jandro in front of that West bench.
And this is a stretch where Lakota West cannot let this game get away from them.
Pass to the inside. Here's Marshall. Goes up. No good. They will have a shot at second chance points. Loose ball. Firebirds not quick enough to it. Three ball up. No good for Marshall. Rebound by Katie Fox. And now here comes a crucial possession for the Firebirds. 3 minutes left to the half. Bailiff goes up and in, draws foul. She'll take 2 from the line. Would have been nice to take home that and one. Points very crucial already in this stage of the game.
Yeah, and West offensive rebounds are going to kill them, and they allowed a pretty good amount of offensive rebounds on that last possession. So they're just going to have to continue to fight for the ball. They can't, just stay ball watching. They got to continue to play their game and try to get rebounds and try to get transition buckets.
Bailiff, the 84% free throw shooter. No good on her first. She has a chance to make it a 5-point game with her second at the line. Bailiff, the third leading scorer for these Firebirds, 11.1 points per game. She'll add one to her tally tonight. Right there, 50% for Bailiff so far tonight from the line. 25-20 our score. Deficit only increased by one there. Now here go the Knights. Quick pass to the inside. Overshot intended for Jandro.
And that's a huge stop right there. That's a play that could get them right back in this game. If they go down here and score and then get another stop, they're right back in it. So they just got to continue to, it's one play at a time for these Firebirds.
Bailiff slow to move things down the floor for the Firebirds. Fishman yelling orders down the floor for the black and red. Here's Reese Johnson, the freshman, just checked in for the Firebirds. Off to the senior, Madison Parker. Bounce pass, tries to find Lily Johnson, bobbles it and kicks it back out. Parker trying to make a drive. Back out for the senior, Johnson. No good on the three attempt. Jenna Burke takes back over off the rebound for the Knights. They look to increase their 5-point lead here. Here's Marshall, far side wing. Over to Burke. Burke back over to Jandro. Elise Marshall now had a poked ball. We're on the floor, kicked. Not sure who they're going to call that for. Looks like they're going to give it to Kings. We won't see the possession arrow used there. They will end up knocking that ball out of bounds. Kings will keep it anyway. They do have the arrow as we approach the final 2 minutes to play here in the half. Kings continuing the movement on the outside, currently with Burke on the near wing. Burke crosses the court, looks for Weary to the inside, tipped by Rolling. Madison Parker up with the steal for the Firebirds. Now here comes Caroline Bailiff. Tries to work her way inside, loose ball. Saves it from going out of bounds, now double teamed in the corner. Over to Kelsey Rolling. And a defensive foul called for as Rolling goes to the floor. 1 minute 31 remaining in the first half. That's going to be Jenna Burke called on her first. Sydney Williams checking in for Madison Parker as we get going for the final 90 seconds in this one. The Knights with 3 fouls in this quarter, Firebirds with 2. Bailiff with the bounce pass finds Rolling, now back out. Bailiff almost had a good 3 look. She'll move inside for 2. Not a 3 ball, but she will take it. Lead decreased to 3 for the Knights, 25-22. But here's Sammy Drew, quick to the rim through the lane, and a charge called for. Firebirds taking back over, down by 1 possession, nearing the half.
And that's a huge call right there. That could get the Firebirds right back in it as they got a score, and now they get a stop, and the game is kind of settled in for them. They're not allowing too many transition buckets, and now the Firebirds are starting to play better basketball.
Firebirds with just over 60 seconds to work with. The Knights with 4 team fouls, sitting 1 away from putting West in the bonus. West will take shots on the next Kings foul. West only with 2 team fouls this quarter. Here goes Rolling, bounce pass, and it is lost. Coughed up to Ava Jandro. Here come the Knights. Sammy Drew down the floor, letting the clock run down in this one. Approaching the 40-second mark. Hands it off for Jenna Burke. Pass now finds Elise Marshall. We'll see a long-range 3. No good. Not enough arc on that one as Sydney Williams comes up with the basketball inside the final 30 seconds. Bailiff in the backcourt, taking her time. Now 20 on the clock. Fishman setting the offense for these Firebirds. Bailiff at the 1, getting things going. Passes it off for Lily Johnson. Johnson tries to move to the far side. Intended pass for Sydney Williams will get batted away right onto that Kings bench. 4.2 seconds remaining. We'll see if West tries to tie this one with a 3 ball inside the final 5 seconds to halftime.
Saw the Firebirds calling the play there, trying to get someone open, but the Kings defense just swarming.
Inbound here for Fox, 4.2 on the clock. Able to find Bailiff. She goes inside, up, no good, rolling nearly up with the rebound, but the buzzer will sound. We head into the locker rooms. It's the Kings Knights in control of this one by 3, 25-22. We've got 10 minutes at halftime, and we will see you on the other side of the break here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. The Firebirds looking to keep their tournament run alive when we return. The Lakota West Athletic Boosters are proud to present Casino Night, brought to you by Kemba Credit Union on Saturday, April 6th from 6 to 11 p.m. at the Boys and Girls Club of Westchester and Liberty Township. This will include a reverse raffle drawing for a $10,000 grand prize, plus an additional $1,000 towards the Lakota West Athletics team of the winner's choosing. $10 from every raffle ticket sold will go back to the Lakota West athletic team of your choice that you put down when you purchase the ticket. And yes, this does include Lakota West Student Broadcasting. If you buy a ticket and mention our name at purchase, we will get $10 back on your purchase. Buy your tickets online now at LakotaWestBoosters.com before they sell out. That's LakotaWestBoosters.com. The Boosters would like to thank you for your support. An incredible matchup here in round 2 of this tournament from Middletown, as we welcome you back into the broadcast booth on Lakota West Student Broadcasting, taking you along the way in the final 16 minutes. I'm Nick Johnson alongside Andrew Odell. And Andrew, I'll tell you what, we talked about it all pregame, and I think we said it about 27 times during the game too. This is a game of runs. We saw a lot of big runs in that first half. Kings went on a 13-2 at one point. West had a 9-2 run. And I'll tell you what, all of Kings' points, which we noted this oddity during halftime, Cassie Ingram has 14, Elise Marshall has 11. That's all 25 for the Kings Knights between Marshall and Ingram.
Yeah, and right now, Kings is really just those two players offensively are the players really running the whole scheme. And for West, I think that's got to be definitely the focus point, is to stop those two players. And then offensively for the Firebirds, Caroline Bailiff leading the team with 10 points. She's going to have to continue to do her thing on the offensive end, shooting three-pointers and, scoring the basketball for the Firebirds.
And we talked about how West starting to fight their way into the paint more than they have in games prior. But we take a look at the stat sheet, only 4 points in the paint compared to the Kings Knights 12. So, I mean, a little bit better execution, probably the secret to success in the second half as far as getting in the paint and actually making it count rather than just taking a look because you can.
Yeah, and look for the Firebirds to try to start the way they did in the first half. Try to get, those open looks inside and just have good energy to open up the half.
Well, in general, what needs fixing for these Firebirds coming out of the locker rooms as the King Knights start with the basketball here?
Well, definitely, the big part is just the transition defense and then also just making smarter passes. I feel like, in the moment, it's kind of a hard thing to deal with, but, when you're on the court, you got to be able to identify, where the holes are in the defense, and I think the Firebirds are going to be able to do a better job of that in the second half.
Kelsey Rowling trying to go over Elise Marshall on the inside to no avail. Still a 25-22 ball game. Pass to the inside. Still no points on the scoreboard in the first minute of play here in half number 2. Here's Katie Fox trying to fight her way through the lane. Back out, Lily Johnson takes a three. No good. Right now in the three-point game, we are all tied. 9 points for the Firebirds, 9 points for the Knights.
Both teams doing a good job early defensively, just stopping any, open looks. But for the Firebirds, they're just going to need to generate more offensively. They're just not really getting any movement. They're chucking up a lot of bad shots, and I really feel like it's going to have to change.
Thinking about the three there was Elise Marshall. Kicks it back over, finds Jenna Burke. And here comes Ingram, and obviously we mentioned it, Marshall Ingram. Obviously that deadly duo that we were discussing earlier, all 25 coming off of their hands as we get a corner three, no good. Rebounded by Ingram, kick back out. That three will do it. The second chance points will do it as Jandro knocks down the tray. And here comes Fox and the Firebirds, now trailing by 6 off the big three.
Look for West to try to get Bailiff here going. They're going to need someone to generate anything offensively, but there's the bad passes again. They're going to have to, open up the game plan a little bit more.
Bad pass there, tipped off Katie Fox. And now Kings taking right back over, a chance to get a huge run going to start off this third quarter. Could potentially put these Firebirds away if this track meet continues Pull-up jumper for 2, no good. Now back outside. Here goes Ingram. Ingram over to Drew, and Drew has a 3. The only points not from Ingram or Marshall off the hands of Jandro, and now Sammy Drew. Back-to-back 3s for the Knights. 9-point deficit, our largest lead of the contest for either team. Here's Barber inside. That one not going to fall. Tie up. West will have the possession arrow as we do see a jump ball called for.
And that was a great hustle play there by Caitlin Barber. You know, that was could have been another possession for the Knights, but good awareness to know that they had the jump ball, and now they get the ball back with another possession to try to get the deficit cut into.
And let's talk about Kings for a minute. Do you think spreading that ball around, was that intentional, knowing that Marshall and Ingram have all your points and you're trying to throw West off, or do you think those were just good looks that kind of happened as we see a bad pass there tipped? They are going to call it Lakota West ball off the hands of a Knight.
Well, I just think that's, you know, the way they play basketball. I think it was kind of a coincidence that Marshall and Ingram had all the points in the first half, just because I think, you know, they're a team that likes to spread the ball around, and, you know, obviously they've been able to do more of that in the second half, and I think it's just been because of the way they played. You know, they like to pass and shoot, and right now they're dominating Lakota West on the defensive end.
Rolling a look inside, gets it to fall. West in the score column for the first time this half.
Huge bucket there by Rolling, you know, trying to get this run going for the Firebirds.
And now here's Ingram. Ingram with a 3-ball. Double-digit lead for the Knights. Fox out to Bailiff now. Bailiff pump fakes a 3 over to Williams. She'll take one. That one not going to fall. Would have been a big right back at you 3-ball. Just not enough on that one for Sydney Williams. And now the Knights slowing things down about halfway through the third. So the corner, here's Marshall over to Ingram. Ingram through the lane, pulls up. Easy 2 up and good, 12-point ball game. The Knights starting to run away with this one. And you see the energy coming off that bench as a timeout called for by Coach Fishman and the Firebirds. This one could be starting to get out of hand if the Firebirds can't counter off of the timeout. We'll take a quick step aside in Middletown. We'll be right back on the other side of the break here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. The Knights student section getting loud now here from the home of the Middies in round 2 of this girls basketball state tournament. Right now it's the Knights by 12, 36-24 over the Firebirds, looking to avoid another early exit in the state tournament as Williams on the inside, no good. Who comes up with that ball? It's going to be the Knights. Jandro getting to it in the paint.
Tough break there for the Firebirds. And, you know, just it feels like the shots just aren't falling the same way they did throughout the regular season at this point in the game.
Marshall with a look at the top, passes it off. Jenna Burke! Burke with a 3-ball. And I think we found the secret to the Knights' success here in this second half. The 3-ball all the way, bringing them over the Firebirds. As here's Lily Johnson now on the far side wing. Loses it as she tries to move inside, rolling. Tries to move up and in. She'll have a retaliation too for the Firebirds, but they still trail by 13.
Firebirds have to bring some energy, and now they're starting to on defense as a timeout's called.
It'll be a Kings Knights timeout, both teams to have 3 timeouts remaining on the other side of the break here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. We apologize with some technical issues here in Middletown. Our camera currently having a few issues. We'll be back up and running here in a second, but right now it's the Kings Knights up in this one, 39-26, the 3-ball key difference maker in this one.
It really has been. The Firebirds haven't been able to knock down their shots while the Kings have, and it's really been because of the ball movement from Kings. They're just able to move the ball around, find open looks, and I don't really think there's a talent discrepancy between these two teams. I really just think it's been the ball movement and the ability to get open looks for Kings.
We'll see Kelsey Rowling called on her first personal foul. West also in the foul column for the first time this period. First time either team has seen the foul column this period. Marshall to the line here, about a 68% free throw shooter. Up and no good on her first shot. 2:12 remaining in the third. Down the stretch here, it'll be interesting to see if the Firebirds stick to their strategy of trying to work it more inside tonight, as we see Marshall go 0 for 2, or if they try and bring back that 3-ball. What do you think, Andrew?
I think, they just got to continue to do what they do, and what they do is they shoot threes, and I think if they're going to want to come back from a deficit of 13 points, the only way to come back is to shoot threes. I think, obviously it's not the ideal scenario you'd like, but that's what they do best, and I think they can't go away from what they do best.
Knights hand it off, find Jenna Burke. Loose ball in the backcourt. Barber tries to dive for it, but it'll be Rowling coming up with it. Now Bailiff with a chance for points. Bit tied up on the inside, slapped out of her hands, and now Elise Marshall takes over for the Knights, running down the clock in this one. Down the floor, Sammy Drew goes up. Foul called for on her way, as we'll see 2 more Knights shots from the line.
Number 23, Lily Johnson, her first, team second at the line, shooting 2. Drew.
Sammy Drew about 67% from the line. Just saw Marshall go 0 for 2, and now we'll see 0 for 3 on the last few here from Middletown. Still a 13-point deficit.
Yeah, and they're leaving the door open for the Firebirds, if they want to try to get themselves back in this game. Obviously, a 13-point deficit, there's a lot you got to do to get themselves back in it, but this is a talented group. I think they have the individuals to get the job done.
Here we'll see what look they take offensively, whether they stick to the game plan or start breaking out those threes as they're used to. Fox bounce pass finds Rowling. Rowling trying to get it back to her. Fox step back 3-ball, no good. Into the hands of a Knight. Drew finding Marshall here near side. Passing around continues, now an open look. Marshall inside, no good. Lily Johnson hard to the floor there, tripping Jenna Burke on the inside, but that's going to be a foul called on the Knights.
14, Ingram, that's her fourth.
That's going to be called on Cassie Ingram, who's now up to 4. And the Kings Knights not too happy about that one. What were you seeing there, Andrew?
I didn't see much, but it looked to me like it was a foul on the Firebirds, but I guess they'll give it to the Knights.
I mean, Lily Johnson did trip Burke there, but I mean, she was kind of to the floor first.
She might have sold, she might have sold it harder than
It's very
Knights
true.
did.
Here's Madison Parker, top of the floor for the Firebirds. 31 seconds remaining in the third. Finds Fox, far side wing. Now Johnson. Johnson tries to fight her way up. No good. No foul called on her way up. Couldn't fight through the contact. Now inside 20 seconds. 14-point ball game. Knights look to increase it. Corner 3. No good. Not enough on it. Loose ball. And it's the Knights up with their own rebound. It was Marshall able to find Drew off the offensive board and a couple of passes. And that 3 ball will do it. Peyton Bowles off the bench for the Knights, ending this quarter with a 3. And as if the Firebirds needed things to get any worse, there you go. We'll head to the final 8 minutes, 43-26. Knights in charge of this one. Firebirds looking to avoid going home early in round 2 of the tournament.
Yeah.
8 minutes remaining in this one. The Firebirds looking to avoid making it their last 8 minutes of the year. The winner in this one getting set to take on the West Claremont Wolves next week on Tuesday, the 27th, right back here in Middletown at 5:30. Firebirds with the ball to start the fourth here. Sydney Williams, quick 3 ball, no good. Kings Knights taking it back over. Elise Marshall waiting for the board under the rim.
Tough night for the Firebirds offensively. Kings has a tough defensive presence.
They fight inside for 2 more right there. 45-26. Fox intended for Lily Johnson. Lost that one. Knights take it back over. Yet again, just sloppy basketball as the Firebirds enter desperation time at this point in the ball game. 7:25 remaining, and they trail by nearly 20. 45-26. As we get a timeout called as the Knights march down the floor. This one coming from the Kings bench. We'll take a quick step aside on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. Knights with the basketball after the timeout here in Middletown. Kings with 2 remaining and West with 3 remaining as we head down the stretch, approaching the 7-minute mark to play in this one. Right now, it's the Knights on top, 45-26. As we get a carry called for on Sammy Drew, shaking that one off as it's not too impactful of a call at this stage in the game. And as we were talking about before we headed to break there, pretty much desperation time, what you can call this for the Firebirds. Down by 19, just over 7 minutes remaining, and what hopefully won't end up being their season, but it's starting to look like it could be that way.
Yeah, it's very much desperation time, and there's not much they can do as at this point. You know, they just haven't been able to generate enough offense to stay in this game. And, you know, their defense hasn't been superb either, but their offense has just been the downfall of this game for them.
And so many missed shots in that third quarter. As we just said off break there, only 4 third quarter points for these Firebirds. The Kings Knights just keep building and building on that lead that they had at half. As we get a whistle blown and an inbound set for Madison Parker. Ready to go to these Firebirds. Bounce pass finds Katie Fox off the rip, no good inside. Another missed shot from the paint. Surprised we haven't seen some of those threes come back out.
Yeah, and they just haven't had open looks. Kings has just been swarming on defense, just not allowing anything to be even remotely open. And it seems like every open look that Kings has gotten, they've been able to knock down from the three-point line.
Kings moving it around as the clock slowly but surely ticking down inside. No good goes Elise Marshall. Now Lily Johnson in transition, a 1-on-2, pulls up. The jumper for 2, no good. Fox with a rebound, and she's no good on the second chance look. Kings in possession of the basketball yet again. Just crucial possessions coming up as goose eggs for the West Side. Here's Peyton Voles, hit one of the more recent threes for the Knights. Off to Burke. Now Gendreau. Knights continue to move it around, knock time off the scoreboard. Now here's Marshall, over to Burke. Corner 3, Gendreau, no good. She will recover her own rebound, goes up, will draw the foul. No and one, unable to bring it down. And you can sense the frustration, and you can almost tell by the look on some of these Firebird faces that they almost realize that they're pretty much out of this one.
Yeah, and it's a tough way to go for the Firebirds, but, you know, they lost to a team that came in and shot the ball really well in the second half. And, you know, ultimately in this game, I really feel like the defense of Kings is what won them this one, as, you know, their ability to get stops down the stretch and just completely disable the Firebirds from getting any open looks.
Eva Gendreau up and good on both. 47-26, a 21-point game. Under 5.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Here's Bailiff. Desperation 3, gets it to go. Now 47-29 ball game. Knights down the floor. It's Drew over to the corner. Another 3. That one no good. Nearly fell in off the bounce. Katie Fox down the floor. See where she takes it. Step back 3 of her own, and it'll go. 15-point deficit now for the West Side. Under 5 to play off of back-to-back triples from Fox and Bailiff.
See if the Firebirds can build some momentum here. There's still a lot of time left in this game. If they're knocking down threes like that, this thing could get interesting.
At bare minimum, I mean, even if you are playing for pride down the stretch in this one, make that score look a little more respectable. I think padding the stats and helping out that score, none of these players are going to have a problem with that. Just keep taking and making those threes as the Knights add 2 right back there.
And the offensive rebounding is what killed them on that possession right there. Just way too many boards going to the Knights, and that's going to kill you in a game like this.
Bailiff with a little convincing as that one up and in. Timeout called for the West Side, 49-34. Firebirds getting the offense going. Might be a little, too late. We'll be back on the other side of the break here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. Knights set for the inbound. Firebirds getting that offense going, but as we discussed, might be a little too late. Not enough of an effort here in the comeback. 49-34 our score. The Knights on top in this one. Now officially under 4 minutes to play. We'll see that clock get milked heavily here by the blue and white on these following possessions. Ball moving around, and here you go. There's that no shot clock in high school for you. Knights moving it around. Foul called for.
You can see that the Firebirds are still playing to win this game. They're fouling here. You know, there's still a lot of time left in this game, and if, you know, with the way they play and they get up shots quickly, there's still a chance that they can come back and win this.
Firebirds with 2 fouls in the quarter. Kings with none. Ball movement continuing now over at Cassie Ingram. Now over that far side corner. Up, and it is good for Sammy Drew. Fox pulling up from behind the three-point line. Won't take a shot just yet. Looks for Caitlin Barber. Barber loses the basketball there. Fast break opportunity. Here's Elise Marshall. Marshall good on the 2. Back to a 19-point game, 53-34. Knights in firm control. Barber working her way inside. And a whistle blown on the inside. First Kings foul of the period. Knights sit with 1. West with 2. We'll see if they stick to that intentional foul game. And as you mentioned, play to win this one, or if they let the clock run out on their 23-24 season. Loose ball out of bounds. Knights take it.
Well, it might just be too late now. You know, the Firebirds giving up too many open looks defensively, and now offensively not able to get anything going.
Down the floor, it's Sammy Drew. Bounce pass to the corner, finds Ingram. Ingram works her way inside, kicks it back out. Open look, but they'll take the clock instead. To the inside, up and good for Eva Jandro. 21-point ball game as the Kings Knights looking like they're going to be the ones taking on the West Claremont Wolves next week, right back here in Middletown. As we mentioned in the pregame, this would be the first time since the school's conception in the 97-98 season and the 98-99 season that the Firebirds would have back-to-back postseasons with 1 win or less, as the Knights just keep adding on to that score column. 57-34 now. Fox inside, and she'll take 2 for pride right there. 57-36. Whistle blown. Timeout West Side. They'll have 1 remaining. Kings with 2 down the stretch inside the final 2 here in Middletown. Knights set to get us away in the final stretch here. 1 minute 54 remaining. Knights on top, 57-36. As they look to run the clock down here in Middletown. Passing around continues, looking to avoid the tight press defense from the Firebirds. We'll see if we get some fouls here later if the Firebirds take one on the chin and head home. Right now it's Ingram working her way inside, takes the pass back up and good for 2 more Knights points. 59-36, 23-point ball game. Here's Bailiff to the inside, takes them right back. Deficit right back at 21, 1:10 remaining. Here go the Knights to the corner. It's Burke. Had a look, they'll take the clock instead. Just about 60 seconds left in this one. You can hear the round of applause already starting in Middletown from the Kings fans who made the travel up Route 4 as we'll get a foul called, 56-3 remaining. Firebirds currently sit at 3 fouls this quarter. The Knights still with a clean sheet. But the Firebirds 3 of 5 when it comes to putting the Knights in the bonus to round this one out. Inbound finds Marshall. Letting the clock run, hits 52. Marshall spins up, no good. Loose ball under the rim. The Knights have the arrow, and we'll see it in use there. Jump ball called for. 45.5 remaining in the fourth.
And now they're just fouling to keep the game going. But
you play for pride, and of course, in these situations, you don't want to see your season come to an end. But as we mentioned, it'll be Kings taking on West Claremont next week, right back here. A couple of other good games to watch in the tournament outside of Lakota West, however. So definitely it'll be fun to keep an eye and see how far the Kings Knights go. Obviously the reigning defending district champions taking one home over the Firebirds here tonight, and they'll get set to play West Claremont, the highest remaining seed in this district as well. And of course, as we get 16.7 seconds remaining in this one, we do want to talk to you about some upcoming streams here on Lakota West Student Broadcasting. If you aren't already, you'll want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Costs you absolutely nothing. You'll get notified whenever we go live, and it helps support Lakota West Student Broadcasting. On Thursday night, 7:30 tip-off from Fairfield. It's the men's tournament officially getting underway. The varsity men's Firebirds taking on the West Claremont Wolves in round 1 of their tournament. A trip to the Cintas Center on the line in that district. If the Firebirds make it to round 4, we'll be right back in downtown Cincinnati. But the girls going home in this one. A upset at the hands of the Kings Knights. 59-38 your score. Your final from Middletown. 1 tournament remaining in basketball season before he sent things home, and you can tell the emotion on some of the faces of these Firebirds. Not how you want your season to end, but definitely as far as development goes, an incredible year for these Firebirds and a lot of their young talent.
yeah, and there's still a lot to go. You know, there's so many young players on this team, so much talent, and there's, you know, a lot of years left for this group.
Well, as we mentioned, it's the Knights back here next week taking on the West Claremont Wolves. And for the West side, you can catch round 1 of the men's tournament this Thursday. We'll be live from Fairfield at 7:30. But until we see you then, we'll sign off on Lakota West Student Broadcasting from Middletown. Until we see you Thursday night, as always, go Firebirds!